If you're a BYU fan, you probably didn't have the East Carolina game circled on your calendar before the season. But it turned out to be one of the most entertaining and dramatic games of the season for BYU. A big night for Algie Brown and a gutsy performance by Tanner Mangum led the Cougars to victory.
Snap, Linehan. Rugby's it to the right, blocked! Blocked, the ball's at 20, the 10's still loose. Pirates squeeze it into the end zone, and that's where they recover for a touchdown.
We're mad. It was just like, you know, really, I mean, we're gonna start the game like this.
Too wide right, Mangum looks left, follows that receiver middle, pulls it down, lobs it far flat. Algie Brown makes the catch, 10, 5, reaching for the pylon, in for the touchdown. Ash as ECU goes left to right here in quarter number 2. Snap, and a block. It's blocked, recovered, and tripped up at the 1-yard line. BYU almost in for a block punt return touchdown. Trey Dye. Algie Brown, right hip, now wides to either side. Hand off Algie. Algie this time into the end zone. Back to return. Linehan fakes and takes off. Linehan on the run near side. Did he get to the marker? Yes, and just beyond it. Bernard, they pull away on play fake. The slant to Matthews, and he takes it in for 6. The Cougars take the lead on the Mitch Matthews touchdown catch. Got Bernard off his left hip. ECU blitzing. Tanner pulls it down. Now fires far pylon. Touchdown, Taryn Houck. Delayed draw, Algie. Steps on a pencil. There he goes. 50, 40. He's at the 30. Moving to the far side. Back inside. 50, 10. He's going to go. Hat trick for Algie Brown. Twins short side left. Far hash snap to Tanner. He looks left. Steps up. Pressure comes in. He's got room to the right. Can he go for the first down? He can. 25 a slide. Oh, man alive. And that was Tanner Mangum's last play. I think they have only 10 players on the field. They're going to run the play. I think there's just 10 out there. Pass thrown to Jones. Jones makes the catch at the 2 and reaches the ball across the plane for a score. Bow in the gun. Brown to his right hip. And Bow will step up. Now he's moved out to the right. Sprinting toward the sideline. Hodge throws on the run. Intercepted it. Oh, it's dropped. Or is it intercepted indeed? ECU does pick it off at midfield. Will be a 33-yarder to tie the game. Snap is back. The kick on its way by Plowman, and it is good. It's through for 3, 17 straight for East Carolina, 38-38.
I didn't expect to see him come back. Certainly glad that he did. And he just kind of keeps doing things that are pretty amazing.
Tanner Mangum shaking off a hamstring injury to hopefully lead his team to victory. 38 the score, 2nd and 5 Cougars from the 9. Snap Tanner, hand off Algie, sweeping right, cutting back inside, into the end zone! Touchdown, Algie Brown for the 4th time tonight, and that could do it.
I mean, I guess when I look at it, yeah, it is a little bit unexpected. I mean, you wouldn't really expect that to happen, but I don't really look at it that way. I don't really let it, you know, get to me. I don't think about it in that way. To me, it's just, I just take it one play at a time, one drive at a time. If whatever the situation is, I'm just going to do my best to make the best play.
So once again, the Cougars come up big in the final minute, and they found a run game, Hans. How key was Algie Brown in this victory?
It was so good. The run game was good. The offensive line was good. Again, talking about Utah's offensive line, same with BYU. Riker Matthews, Tijon Karoma, Kyle Johnson, Wilcox. Those guys deserve a lot of hype and a lot of pub. But let's start with this Algie Brown run, because Anai dialed up, I think, the perfect concoction right out of the gates here for Algie.
Yeah, you know, it's a 2nd and 2 situation. You know, ECU had been aggressive with their blitzing, getting upfield. You can see they have all these guys up here. But look, you got 3 gaps to fill. They're running a delayed handoff to Algie and leaves this number 51 in a compromising situation. And he steps up. The line has blocked everyone, and he's got no one in front of him and shows off his speed.
You know, really pretty blocks, both by Kyle Johnson and by Riker Matthews on the left side there. Riker taking his guy way upfield, ECU being really aggressive, and you can see that beautiful gap that opens up for him. And I'll tell you, Algie Brown, I'm so proud of the way he ran. He had 134 yards, what was it, 3 touchdowns in this game. And just a spectacular game for him, a real staple, and I love that Robert and I stuck with him. There was a game-changing moment when you see Tanner Mangum go down with that hamstring. Take me through some of your initial thoughts when you saw this situation.
Yeah, when you see this, you know, you're worried beyond belief. You lose Taysom Hill, first game of the year. You lose Tanner Mangum, who's growing up before your eyes. He has no interceptions on the night. And, you know, you're putting in Bo Hodge, who's a young freshman. And, you know, having those type of hamstring injuries are brutal.
I'll tell you, right out of the gates when I saw the injury, I knew that it was going to be okay, because if it's a terrible hamstring, they instantly pack it with ice. They take you right to the sidelines. They slap that ice on. I know you've had a hamstring. I had a hamstring. You immediately ice it if it's a bad situation. But you saw them put him on a bike. You saw them stretch him out. And then you thought, maybe, just maybe he could come back in the game. But did you guys expect to see what you saw when he came back in the game? Let's talk about this. I love this. Robert and I dialed it up perfectly. He's going to clear out this passing lane. This tackle's going to cut this defensive end, get his hands out of the lane. This is a design run by Blackman. I'm going to put him just right in this beautiful little area, and I'm going to give Tanner Mangum a really sweet throw with a beautiful throwing lane for his first pass back on the field. And it's dialed up a couple of times in that final drive. He's not looking off receivers. He's dialing up exact routes.
And this second throw he throws to Taron Houck, you know, you got to look at the down and distance. It's 3rd and 11. They just got to get a field goal to you know, win the game. But they wanted to get an actual score, and this is where they hit Algie for that game-winning touchdown.
You know, and this is what cracks me up. This Algie, this final touchdown. You look at T-John Caroma up here on the block, just logging his guy out. They shoved the box full of 8 guys. ECU had 8 guys on the line. BYU's offensive line was blocking like it was the final play in the Super Bowl. Spectacular blocks, and Algie Brown finding the end zone. These guys didn't want a field goal. Yeah. They wanted a touchdown.
And they got it.
And they end up getting that big win. And Tanner Mangum, whew, come on.
If Tanner doesn't go back in, do you think they win that game?
No, I don't. Because ECU was doing some things defensively when Bo Hodge was on the field. They weren't bailing out their linebackers. They were actually holding them in tight, shutting down the run game. Your run game is not strong enough if you don't have Tanner Mangum to keep the pass game a true option. You watch those linebackers bail. As soon as Tanner Mangum comes under center, those linebackers are bailing out instead of coming forward in run block support or run stop support. So Tanner Mangum changes the flow. No, they don't win if Tanner Mangum doesn't come back in that game.
And you made a point that they had plays specifically designed for Tanner with the sore hamstring that he didn't have to plant and throw hard.
Right. You know, these are just quick reads. You know, you look at that play that I brought you in with, just beautiful. Just line it up. He's already got the ball. He doesn't have to make any giant steps. He doesn't have to worry about scrambling because it's into the hands, turn, and it's a release. And that's what Robert and I went with in that final drive. And it just worked to perfection. And like Christian talked about, ECU, they had to guard against that deep bomb because he's thrown it so many times. Didn't want to be embarrassed.
And you know what? We've seen a lot from Tanner Mangum already just in, you know, a few short games. We still have 3 years after this to watch.
Yeah, and Taysom too. He'll be back. So.
Okay, all right.
We'll talk about that some other time.
That's another show.
Thank you.